All right, today we're diving into the Philippines. And let me tell you, it's a country of incredible contrasts. You've got this booming economy, this super vibrant culture, but at the same time, it's facing some of the biggest challenges in all of Southeast Asia. So let's unpack these fascinating contradictions. So, yeah, what's the deal? Why is the Philippines such a paradox? Well, it's like this. On one hand, you have this absolutely powerful engine for growth. But on the other, there are some really serious roadblocks holding it back. And that's the core tension, the push and pull we're going to get into. And that really brings us to the big question, right? Is the Philippines about to become Asia's next economic giant? Or are these deep-rooted challenges just going to keep it stuck in place? To figure that out, we've got to start by looking at what's fueling all that growth in the first place. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the good stuff. What exactly is this powerful engine that's pushing the country forward? Honestly, the country's greatest asset? It's the people. I mean, for starters, English is an official language, which is a massive advantage on the world stage. Then you've got the population itself. The median age is just 25 years old. That makes for one of the youngest, most energetic workforces in all of Asia. And it's all built on this really strong, family-oriented culture. And this talent isn't just a local asset, it's a global force. The Philippines is famous for its system of sending workers overseas, and these workers are in huge demand everywhere. We're talking millions of highly skilled people, nurses, seafarers, all kinds of professionals, working in practically every corner of the globe. And the economic impact of this, whoa, it is absolutely staggering. You're looking at over 30 billion US dollars being sent back home every single year. That money, those remittances, they're not just numbers. They're a total lifeline for the economy, propping up families and pouring cash right into local businesses. Okay, so here's a really key point. The Philippine economy isn't built on factories and heavy industry like some of its neighbors. Nope. It is overwhelmingly a service-driven economy. And cities like Manila, they've become massive hubs for what's called global business process outsourcing. So this service economy really stands on three big pillars. You've got business process outsourcing, or BPO, you've got tourism, and you've got retail. And that BPO sector, it's the perfect example of how the country's strengths all click together. Think about it. That person you chat with for customer service for a big American or European company, there's a really good chance they're sitting in an office in Manila. And that's only possible because of that widespread English skill we talked about. It fuels this huge industry of call centers and all kinds of back office support. And that's not even all of it. The country is also sitting on a ton of natural resources. We're talking nickel, copper, gold. It's got these absolutely world-class tourist spots like Boracay and Palawan. Plus, it's going through this super fast digital shift. E-wallets like Gcash and Maya are everywhere now, becoming a normal part of daily life for millions of people. Okay, so that's the engine. It's powerful, it's dynamic, but now, what about those headwinds? Let's flip the coin and look at the other side of this paradox, the tough, persistent challenges that are really putting the brakes on progress. Remember that amazing global workforce we were just talking about? Well, here's the downside. Here's the catch. It creates what's known as a brain drain. The country's most skilled people, the best nurses, engineers, tech experts, they often leave for higher-paying jobs overseas. And that leaves a massive skills gap right back at home. And speaking of challenges, get this. A daily commute of 2, even 3 hours each way in Metro Manila, that's not a rare, bad day. That is the normal, everyday reality for millions of people. And it's not just annoying, right? It's a huge drain on productivity and a really clear, painful sign of the country's serious infrastructure problems. Another huge hurdle, the cost of electricity. Power prices in the Philippines are some of the highest in all of Asia, and that hurts everyone. It makes it way more expensive to run a business or a factory, and it puts a constant squeeze on the wallets of regular families. Then there's this really deep divide both digitally and socially. If you're in a big city like Manila, you might have great internet and access to top-notch private healthcare. But you go out to the rural provinces, it's a completely different story. We're talking poor, unreliable internet and a public health system that's really struggling. And finally, you've got these big systemic hurdles. Things like painfully slow bureaucracy, red tape everywhere. The risk of corruption is a real issue at both local and national levels. And on top of all that, there's the constant threat of natural disasters like typhoons and floods. All of this just creates a really unpredictable environment that can scare off investment and choke off growth.
All right, so with that constant push and pull in mind, let's just pause for a second and look at some of the core numbers for the Philippines.
First off, the population is huge, over 110 million people. That creates a really big domestic market. And the economy is what you'd call consumption-driven, which basically just means that people spending their own money is a major driver of growth. But, and this is a big but, it's also super dependent on imports for things like fuel and machinery. This is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, all that local spending is great. On the other, having to rely on other countries for the basics makes the whole economy really vulnerable whenever global prices spike or supply chains get messed up. So, where does that leave us? How do all these opposing forces, the engine and the headwinds, actually balance out? What does it all mean for the future? At the end of the day, the story of the Philippines right now is really a constant tug of war. You've got this immense potential on one side, right? Fueled by its amazing people and all those resources. And on the other side, you've got these really significant, deeply rooted obstacles that are constantly pulling it back. And so, that leaves us with the ultimate question. Which of these two powerful forces is going to define the Philippines' next chapter? Will that incredible engine of growth finally overcome the headwinds? Or will the country's immense potential stay just tantalizingly out of reach? That right there is the dynamic everyone is watching.